Good morning, and today I'm going to read How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every Whodunit in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all, it may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown, and the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy hanging a mistle or wreath, and they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow's Christmas is practically here. Then he growled with his grinchy fingers nervously drumming. I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming, for tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, and they would rush for their toys, and then, oh the noise, noise. And that's one thing he hated, the noise. The Who's young and old would sit down and feast, and they would feast, and they'd feast. And then they would feast on Who pudding and rare Who's roast beef, and which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'll do something he liked least of all. Every Whodunit in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing, and they'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of his Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. For 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming, but how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea, the Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what I'd do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and chuckled. What a great Grinchy trick! With this hat and coat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he got some red thread and tied a big horn to the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some empty old sacks and a rush on the sleigh and hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, giddy up, and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark. Quite snow filled the air, and the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. Then came the first house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinch calls his, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, so could the Grinch. So he stuck once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards and tricycles, popcorn and plums. He stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk into the icebox and took all the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding, he took the roast beef. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed up the food in the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I'll stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and started to shove, when he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou, who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who had got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know that Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a line and thought it up quick. Oh, my sweet little tot, fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. His fib fooled the child, then he patted her head, got her a drink and sent her to bed. When Cindy Lou went to bed with a cup. He went up the chimney. He went to the chimney and snapped the tree up. The last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks, and the speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other houses. It was 15:15 dawn, all the who's still abed, all the who's still asnooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, their ribbons, their wrapping, their tags, the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up on the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Boo-hoo to the who's. The Grinch, he was grinchily humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. Their mouths will hang open in a minute or two. Then I'll know what the who's done and Hoover will do. They'll all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and then the Grinch put his hand to his ear. Then he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry very. He stared down at Hoover. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every who, Dan and Hoover, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without boxes, packages, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. Then he puzzled 3 hours till this puzzler was sore. Maybe the Grinch. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Hoover they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day, and in a minute or two his heart didn't feel so quite tight. He whizzed through his load through the quiet, bright morning light. He brought back their toys and the food and the feast. And he, himself, the Grinch, cut the roast beef. Thank you for watching. I hope you like it. By Dr. Seuss.